What's up, everybody? This is Whiskey in the Six. I'm Rob, doing another gifted whiskey rundown. This time I have two bourbons in the mix. I do have some other whiskeys that were gifted to the channel, but I have them lined up for head-to-heads with other bottles from that distillery, so I decided to just do this one, and then in the near future, when I get a few more, we'll do another one. So this is part two. Last week I released part one, so if you haven't checked that one out, I recommend you check that one out first. Over here to my left, we're going to start with the Wild Turkey Revival. This is finished in Oloroso sherry casks. On the neck of the bottle it says it's from 12 to 15 years old, bottled at 50.5%, so 101 proof. I'm going to start with this one, move to my right. Go with the two bourbons first and then get into the two scotches. This was gifted to me by Richard, super nice guy from Hawaii. Great guy. He's been very kind to the channel. He wasn't sure about this whiskey. He hadn't had a chance to try it. Hopefully I'll be able to send him a sample of it. I really like it. We're going to talk about it right now. So all the traditional bourbon notes that you would expect to get, those brown sugars, those vanillas, that nice char note, but then something else is happening. I know they use Oloroso sherry for it, but I'm not exactly sure how long. It doesn't say how long the finish was. I'm going to assume that it was probably a few months. Could be up to a year maybe. Yeah, it just says that they're from Jerez, Spain, but it doesn't actually say how long the finish was. Nice color on this one as well. You do get some of those dark fruit notes that you would get from a Oloroso finish in scotch and other types of whiskey. I am getting that Oloroso definitely on the nose here. Maybe some chocolate on this one as well. There's a little bit of like a cherry note. Maybe a cherry pop kind of note. Coke with the cherry twist or whatever that one is. Really sweet, really fruity, really inviting actually. Okay, on the palate. Yeah, I spent some time with this one last night. Really, really nice. Perfect ABV in my opinion. It's 12 to 15 years old, bottled at 50.5%. So that ABV allows for this whiskey to kind of speak for itself. It's not being overpowered by a heavy barrel proof ABV. There's really nice notes here. Okay, it's the traditional Wild Turkey mash bill, but then it's finished in the Oloroso sherry, so it gives it a really nice element. It gives it that sweet, chocolatey type fruity note, maybe like chocolate covered strawberries. There's also a really cool cherry Coke type flavor to it. I think that comes from the bourbon cask itself, but very possibly enhanced by the sherry cask. I'm going to give it one more sip and then I'm going to give this a mark. Honestly, I would put this head to head with any bourbon that I've had, and I can honestly say it's really, really great stuff. Probably one of the more underrated whiskeys that I've tasted and that I've heard about so far. Because the retail price on this is pretty high, people tend to avoid it. The ones that really go crazy are the ones that have a lower retail price, or at least started at a lower retail price and then eventually through demand the retail price went up. Whereas this one started with a higher retail price and people just walk away from it. Also because it's finished in Oloroso sherry, a lot of bourbon purists don't actually like that idea either. This one's a 90 for me. It's really, really good. I would, like I said, put it up against most bourbons I've had. It's up there, probably in my top 5 for bourbon whiskeys that I've had. Really, really nice stuff. Moving over here to the Old Ezra barrel proof or barrel strength. This one was given to me by Claire III. It's bottled at 58.5%, so 117 proof. Old Ezra is charcoal filtered, okay, charcoal mellowed as they put it. This one's 7 years old. On my channel, I've already reviewed the bottled in bond. This one is, like I said, just a barrel proof, and I do notice a difference in quality. And they've decided to amp up the bottle as well, because the bottle is a lot nicer than the bottle in bond. I believe Claire got this for sub $40, but I could be wrong. Nose it, taste it, and give it a mark. Let's see. Okay, really nice nose. Your brown sugars, your caramels. Maybe a little bit of like a hint of banana. Very, very light banana note on the background. Okay, on the palate. Really sweet. Not overpowering considering how high the ABV is here. Mouth coating. Lots of caramel, lots of vanilla. That's really what I'm getting predominantly on the palate. One more time. One of the more sweet bourbons that I've had. I can see why this would be popular in the US. I'm not really sure if it is too popular, but I really like that. It's got a nice finish. It's got like a little bit of that char note from the charred barrels. Overall really nice. Nice finish of vanilla and caramel with maybe some like brown sugary type notes. Really sweet. I'm actually surprised at how sweet this is. It's a lot sweeter than the bottled in bond, and it's only about 7.5% more. So if you have the option, go with this instead because it's really, really nice. I'm going to give that one an 88. That's really good whiskey. I like that a lot. Alright, moving over here to a Peter White gift. This is the Benromach 10-year-old. This one is the 43%er. They also have a 100 proof, which is really nice. This was gifted to me a long while back, so thank you, Peter. I'm sorry it took so long to get to this bottle. Nice peat notes right off the hop. As you can tell, I went from bourbon to peated whiskey because to stand up to the robust flavors of a bourbon, I feel like peated whiskey does that best. I also wanted to go from left to right because I didn't want the smoke taste from the peated whiskey to interfere with my palate when it came to the bourbons. So nice like hay note, maybe a little bit of like a honey note as well, like a grassy note, like an autumn leaf kind of note. When you rake the leaves and they're moist underneath the top layer of leaves, gives you like a nice sweet grassy type note. That's what I'm getting here. This smells like an autumn whiskey, to be honest with you. A little bit of farm notes as well. On the palate. %, so you're not going to expect very much heat, but it's really, really smooth. It's got a nice honey note. You do get that smoky characteristic on the palate as well. It's not overly peated. This is probably about 10 to 20 ppm, so not very, very much. Maybe a little bit more than that. Yeah, that's really nice. Easy drinking. If you're a peat guy, I think this would be an easy buy for you. I believe that the 100 proof is not that much more expensive, so you might want to opt for the little bit heavier ABV. But this is just an easy pour and play type whiskey. You don't have to add any water to it. You can just kind of drink it. If you like smoke, this might be the one for you. It's got nice notes of sherry, but not overly sherry. There's probably more bourbon cask than sherry cask in here. One more taste and I'll give it a mark. yeah, good overall. Thank you again, Peter. That one is an 85 for me, so that's an A on the dot. Good stuff, easy daily sipper, especially if you're a peat guy. Not one that's going to blow you away by any means, but you don't actually need that every night. Sometimes you just want something that you can pour, something with a little bit less thought process needed to enjoy the whiskey while you're maybe watching a movie, watching a game, or whatever. That's a good one. All right, last but not least, this was gifted to me by my buddy Marco, who I think got this in a trade with a buddy of ours named Kevin. So this is like a two-part gift, I guess you can say. So thank you to both of you. This one is 50%. It's the Port Charlotte Scottish Barley Heavily Peated No Age Statement. Like I said, 50% on the dot. The 10-year-old is not much more expensive than this. So I'm going to nose this, taste this, and give it a mark. And then I'm going to give you guys whether you should go with this one or spend a little bit extra money and get the 10-year-old. Okay, so it says heavily peated, but this has been open for quite some time, and it's been at this level for quite some time, so it's not going to be in your face kind of peat. But you do get that Octomore type style peat that you would from a Port Charlotte, since they're the same company. And I'm assuming that this is probably around 6-7 years old, not that much older than that. So yeah, you're gonna be in that Octomore kind of range for age. A lot less peated than the Octomore for sure. Really nice though. You get that barbecue style peat. It's not the traditional Isla style peat. All right, on the palate. Mouth feels great. It's really sweet, nice and sugary, a lot of like powdered sugar. Got like barbecue sauce type notes, like applewood barbecue sauce. One more sip. Yeah, that's really nice. The Port Charlotte 10, I believe at the LCBO is about $120, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more, I'm not 100% sure. I think this one was around $80 at the LCBO. For $40 extra, is it worth the price? I think, yeah, I would go with the 10-year-old just because you know what you're getting. And if that's important to you, then go for that. If the dollars are important to you, then this is a good whiskey. I'm going to put this one at an 86. It's an A for me. So all three of these are A's. The old Ezra is a high A. This one here, the Wild Turkey Revival, is an A+. Again, thank you to Richard, Claire III, Peter, and Marco. You guys are awesome. I really appreciate the support for the channel. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you really like the video, you can click the subscribe button if you haven't already. You can click the bell to get notifications for when I post videos. If you guys haven't checked out the archives, check out some of my older videos. I got the 10 whiskeys to try before you die, which a whole bunch of YouTubers jumped in and actually did as well, which I thought was pretty cool. So check that out if you haven't already, and check out the videos that I linked below to all the other YouTubers that did it. You guys can also support this channel on Patreon, or if you want to send the channel a bottle, you can do that as well. Cheers.